Hello and welcome to Let's Talk, the only Auckland TV show about books, arts, ideas and events.
So basically, my grandmother who raised me died about 5 years ago. I was a single mum at the time, had two boys, a 2-year-old and a 10-year-old, and I was pretty grief-stricken. So
So she was mum for you, really?
She was my mum, yeah. I haven't got a father, no brothers and sisters, so she was basically it. And being a single mum for many years, you know, I was pretty sick of the everyday routine, sort of the daily grind. My nan died, and I thought, right, stuff it, I'm off. So I basically sold my house, quit my job, booked a round-the-world ticket, and took the boys around the world for 8 months.
People would say you were mad taking 2 very small children around the world on your own for 6 months.
Yes, well actually that was the original title of my book, You Must Be Mad.
Yes.
But I actually changed it to Full Tilt because that's kind of how I've lived my life. But it was the most amazing experience. Totally recommend it to anybody. And when I came back, my friends who I'd emailed said, oh look, you should write it into a book. We love getting your emails. It's so, you know, inspiring and funny. There's lots of humour, obviously, with a 2-year-old travelling around the world. And so I wrote the first draft and sent it off to about 100 agents who all rejected me. And
typical. You're not alone there.
And I even made up a little gift box for Ellen DeGeneres. Thought she'd get me on the show. And
you're a big thinking woman, aren't you? Yes.
Well, actually, I think my biggest faux pas there was I put 2 pairs of possum fur nipple warmers made in New Zealand, one for her and one for Portia, and then discovered that she was a huge animal rights activist. That was not a good idea. But anyway, so then I did a little 2-day writing course at Auckland University and realised that actually maybe my manuscript wasn't finished after all.
Yes.
So I did a writing course with Sharad Poole and the amazing Kineret Yardena, who actually became my editor for the last 2 years. So,
right. You've been working at this book for 2 years then?
Well, actually 5 years. 5 years juggling motherhood and part-time work. And
so having been unable to find a bog standard publisher for it, you thought, right, now how am I going to do it? So next step.
So my middle name is Don't Give Up, basically. So I came across Kickstarter, which is an amazing crowdfunding platform. It's an American site, and it's basically for creative projects, be it dance, film, media, publishing, technology. And
I've heard of Kickstarter mainly for movies. I've never heard anyone using it for a book before.
Yeah, no, there's been lots of, in fact, at the moment mine is one of 160 non-fiction publications.
Right.
And so people who are creatively minded, they they trawl through the Kickstarter site, they find interesting projects, and they basically support them by pre-ordering or just generously giving with no reward. In my case, you know, there's copies of my ebook, my paperback. There's dinners cooked by the author, which is me, because I used to be a London page.
Yes, so I saw this. So if people pledge certain amounts of money, and I did, I put in $12, and when the thing finally comes to fruition, I'll get a free e-copy of your book.
Yeah.
But you've got that on a sliding scale, so people who give more money get bigger rewards.
That's right. So, there's all sorts of things. There's basically I added a new reward yesterday, which is I'll come to your house and up to 10 people I will cook 4-course meal.
Are you a chef as well?
Yes, I trained in London as a chef when I was 17.
For heaven's sake, is there no end to the talents?
And,
yes. So this sounds more about marketing than about being a writer. And is this the new world that writers kind of need to be in?
Well, I think so, especially living in New Zealand. You know, you're away from a lot of the action, a lot of the big, you know, publishing houses in New York and London, and if you want to hit the big time.
Down at the edge of the world, it's a hard job to do, isn't it? Yeah.
So, but the great thing about Kickstarter is it gives you this this global exposure. You set a time limit, so in my case it was 33 days.
And that's self-imposed, is it? They don't. Yeah, okay.
And for 33 days I can reach the whole of the world. So people can pre-order on my site. They watch a little 4-minute film. But basically it's like anything in life, the more you put in, the more you get out. So if I just launched my project on Kickstarter and did nothing, you know, very few people would come to my site. Right. So I'm literally, with my yellow cart, as you've seen, trawling the streets of Auckland.
But you're doing more than that, aren't you? I heard you were on Jim Mora's afternoon radio show,
Yes,
because you
that's
rang
right.
up and said, "I've got this really good story to tell. Please, can I be on?"
That's right, and I did say to Jim at the end of the interview that I would like to be the most funded publishing project on Kickstarter, which asked for $20,000 and got $580,000 US dollars. I've asked for 10,000, and I'm really excited to say that yesterday I reached my goal after only being halfway through my campaign.
Gosh, that's amazing.
And,
but I understand that if you didn't hit that self-imposed goal of 10,000, then none of the people who have pledged money would be paying up.
No.
So it only goes onto their credit cards or whatever after you've
Yes.
hit the gong at the top end of the...
That's right, because if you say you need 10,000
scale.
to complete the project, and in my case typesetting, cover design, printing, then if you haven't reached that target, nobody's credit card gets charged, and and then you're back to square one. But
So do you need 10,000? This is a paperback that you're doing, is
Yes,
it? 10,000 sounds a lot.
not really. It hasn't really, it won't really sort of scratch the surface.
You're going to print in New Zealand?
I've got 2 printers. I've got one in America, which is an eco-green printer for my America market. And then I've actually, I'm printing...
I love the way you say my American market.
My American market, yes.
Even though it doesn't exist yet. Yes.
And well, actually, in saying that, I've got a huge following in America. This is what has astounded me about Kickstarter, and what's so exciting. And I never realised how connected I would become with my potential readers. So I've got people like, there's a woman in El Paso, Texas, who sent me a message, and she said, "Oh, look, I love your project, love your film, love the idea, really want to buy your book. I can't buy it till next week when my disability check comes in." I know, and it's just so sad. And I said, so I wrote back to her, I said, "Forget the pledge, I'll send you a copy, just spread the word." And my filmmaker, Tag, who is amazing photographer and filmmaker, she has...
so this is a little short, 3-minute video or something?
Yes. So
on Kickstarter?
it's like a little promotional film. People do it in lots of different ways. Some people just talk into the camera for 3 minutes, and that's quite dull and boring. In my case, I start off in the Devonport rubbish dump, where I had a date when I was 13. So sort of it's like, to try and create the tone of my book. Imagine Eat, Pray, Love meets Bridget Jones's Diary with 2 kids in the mix. So Tag's a filmmaker here in New Zealand, but she used to live in LA. So her friends in LA have supported me. The friends of those friends have supported me. People have offered to have me stay in their on the couch, just to come when I do a book launch. It's quite incredible. There's a guy called Brian who is amazing right from the day one. So it's been going for about 2.5 weeks. From day one, Brian has been liking and sharing and supporting my little posts on Facebook. So for 2 weeks he's been liking every day, liking and sharing, and I'm curious about Brian. I was curious about Brian because he hadn't actually,
asked you for a date yet?
Well, no. But he hadn't actually pledged or pre-ordered a book. And then yesterday morning I woke up and I got a message from Brian saying congratulations on Facebook. And I thought, well, what's he congratulating me for? And I realised that overnight he'd obviously had a strategic plan to be the one to get me across the finish line for my target goal, and he'd pledged $400.
Wow.
No reward, and people like that, strangers from all over the world but not to mention my local market.
You are a salutary lesson to every would-be author who's just sitting at home thinking, why won't anybody buy my book? Answer is you have to have your sort of energy.
Well, look, the Yellow Cart has been amazing. I wanted to get out and meet the people. The other day I was in Devonport.
To be quick, you're running out of time.
Okay, yes. So the other day I saw this woman pushing twins. It was an Ikamoa, I realised when I got closer. And she just grabbed my hand like this and just said, look, it's so neat to have you coming out, meeting people. Even Don McKinnon, got a flyer into his hand as he was waiting for a coffee at the Writers' Festival.
Because you're pushing them.
Yeah, nobody is safe with my yellow card around. So.
You're a full tilt sort of woman, and I'm sure that Full Tilt's going to have lots of eager readers when it comes out.
Well, thank
you
you
for coming,
much.
Rebekah.
Thank you.